Whisper, sorry, Daily Devotional by Brian Simmons. And we are leaning in very poignantly. We just did a game of catch up for this week where I've been out, but we are leaning into the devotion from the 5th, and it's speaking from the topic, You Are My Warriors, right? And we've gone through and we've read the full devotional. We've gotten our scriptural text, which is Psalm chapter 130, verses 20 and 21. And we are inside of that, and we're just doing basically a deep dive and a journal reflection is what we ended up being led to do. Like I said, it's so interesting how the Lord just like works it out, right? I said this, if you were in on the earlier session when I was getting set up to do our devotionals and play catch up like we normally do. But I said I just felt like the Lord was really telling me to grab my Bible. I said, okay, well, we don't normally deep dive in like our devotion sessions, but let's do it, right? So that's what we're doing. We're taking that scriptural text and we are in that devotion for today. We're taking that frame and those different references, and we're just diving in. So again, it's speaking from the topic, You Are My Warriors. And I'm probably gonna have to stitch these two videos together, but it's all good. I don't mind. But yeah, you are my warriors. You are my warrior. And we talked about how inside of this scripture is talking about how you are ready for battle. You're battle ready. I have dispatched my angels to help you. If you could only see, it says the angels that have been released to you, you would never be intimidated by the enemy. I have given you everything that you need to overcome. And inside of our scriptural text coming from the Passion Translation, that's Psalm chapter 103, verses 20 and 21. It says, Bless the Lord, all his messengers of power, for you are his mighty heroes who listen intently to the voice of his word to do it. Not just to hear it, but to do it. Bless and praise the Lord, you mighty warriors, ministers who serve well and fulfill his desires. Okay, and so we were inside of this devotional, and we're speaking from what are your marching orders. Okay, when we read this thing, we were like, okay, there are three main things that the Lord, that are being highlighted here. Let me say it correctly. But there are three main things that are being highlighted here. It says, you ready for battle. Okay, is what it says. My armies are battle ready and prepared to fight on your behalf. You're ready. I got a whole army behind you. You're ready. You may not feel ready, but you're ready. And it says, I only require you to do three things. Everything is set. The stage is set. The protection is set. The power is set into place, and it will overcome, right? I need you to do three things. It says, that's why we're speaking from the topic today. If you can see my screen here, what are your marching orders, okay? Number faith. Let's hear what it has to say. It says, step out in faith and watch the miracles break forth. Have I not equipped you? All who rise against you will fall, and those who disgrace my name will be set aside. But your calling is to move forward in faith and bring defeat to the forces of darkness. Give yourself to me with a wholehearted devotion, and the glory within you will shine so brightly darkness will tremble. Your radical obedience will catapult you into my strategic plans and release your breakthrough. Press pause. It goes on further than that, but we're gonna stop right there. And this section, this full first section is where we're getting our marching orders from. Okay, so when it says you are my warrior, you listen intently to the voice of my word to do it, not just to hear it, but to do it. Doers of the word, not only just hearers of the word. Okay, and it says step out into faith. That's number one. Step out in faith and watch the miracles break forth. So we were speaking before we switched platforms, but we were speaking about how each of these marching orders have promise attached to them, right? So number one is that step out in faith and watch the miracles break forth. So here's your prompt for just step out in faith. The promise that is attached to it, and we'll get there, but the promise that is attached to it is that then your miracles will break forth. So before we can get to the promise, let's focus on the marching order, right? The order here is step out in faith. And our prompt for this piece is, what is God in this season and in this moment, right? This greater season in your life, and even in this moment, what is God calling you to do as it relates to step out in faith? That's what we were starting to talk about. So we're gonna break this thing down together. We're gonna go deeper together, and we'll see how far we can get today with 24 minutes on the clock. But we were talking about what is God doing specifically in your life, specifically, and really taking this time to really meditate and get an answer, right? A practical breakdown, okay, of what's going on. What is God in this season and moment calling you to do as it relates to stepping out in faith? Okay, so if you press in and you pray, right, get into a protected space and pray and really commune with God. And he should already be speaking in your life what this thing is, right? But if you really just press in and focus, and you take this time so that you can press in and focus and have uninterrupted time with God, a two-way communication and conversation with God, and allow God to speak however he will. And you say, well, what are the things that you're saying step out in faith about for me in this season, in this moment, my context, my relevancy? Lord, what are you telling me to step out in faith about? It could be a season of the unknown. It could be a season of whatever it is that's in your life, right? I'm not trying to, whatever your details are specifically. God is asking you to step forward, step out in faith, right? Move beyond yourself, step out into faith, knowing that you are protected, assured of protection, assured of power that is behind you. And say, well, step forward. What is God calling you forward into? And possibly out of in this season of your life, but step out, step into this next thing. He's calling us out of something, right? So whatever that is for you specifically in this season, in this moment of your particular life, how that applies to you, the first marching order is to step forward, step out in faith. What is the thing that God is calling you to step out into? Where he's saying come, where he's saying follow me, where he's saying do this thing, go forward, push out, do this thing. What is that step? What's that first initial step? Because that's the first order, is step out in faith. What is it that God is calling you to step out into? Marching order number 2, give yourself to me. Number 1, step out in faith. Number 2, give yourself to me with your whole heart. Wholehearted devotion here, right? How is God leading you to give yourself to him wholeheartedly? God is asking you to do a thing, and he's going to tell you exactly how he wants it done, right? So you don't have to guess. There's no guesswork here. How is God leading you to give yourself to him wholeheartedly in this season, as it's concerning the details and the matters of your heart, right? In the matter of what's going on inside of your life, right? Inside of all of these different parameters, it says, how is God leading you to give yourself to him wholeheartedly? How is God saying, give yourself to me with all your heart? So wholeheartedly seems like easy, but foreign at the same time. So let's not say wholeheartedly. Let's say with all of your heart, right? God says, I want you to give yourself to me concerning something right here, right now. Not in the future, not in the past, right here, right now. I am leading you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly. I am leading you. I'm pushing you. I'm pressing on something in your life. I'm pressing on something in your circumstances. You feel me. It's me. Hello. All right. How am I leading you to give, in what area of your life, in what details, in what context, bless God, am I calling you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly? It's something that God is pressing on and trying to get your attention about, right? We even talked about feelings and all those things, but that's a whole nother different video, right? But how is God asking you, okay, I want you to move on something. There's something in your life I want you to move on. I want you to move forward in or out of. It's something I'm asking you to step out in faith about. What is that thing? And come do it, right? Then he says, give yourself to me wholeheartedly. There is a condition, a section, a season, a situation in your life that God is saying right here in the right now, not in the future, not in the past. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow has its own issue. We'll deal with that when it's time to deal with that. He's saying right here in the right now, I'm asking you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly concerning something. What is that? Then do it. What is that? Then do it. Like I said, we ain't even got to the part about promises and all the, what is that? Then do it. Your hands are full. What is that? Then do it. 5 minutes to genuinely press in. And if you don't know, or if you have noise, or if you are unsure, to press in and to pray and to convene with God and ask that He would reveal to you clearly, in clear confirmation, in full detail, right? However you need it, but to pray and to ask God, Lord, how in this moment, right now, do you want me to give myself wholeheartedly to you? In what season, what area? And just ask that God breathes confirmation on it, clarity on it. So you are clear to receive it and to do it, right? God is asking you in an area of your life to give yourself completely to Him. So by definition, it's the area that you're not giving yourself completely to Him, right? What area is He saying, give that to me completely? Right? I wanna give a little bit of scripture while that's like being meditated on. First Peter chapter 5 verse 7. Right? That's something that we did today as well. First Peter chapter 5 verse 7. It says, pour out all your worries and stress upon Him and leave it there, for He always tenderly cares for you. So right now, as we're taking time to meditate and press in on how can we give ourselves wholeheartedly to the Lord, right? What thing does God want us, like what area of our life, what situation is God asking us to relinquish fully to Him, to give ourselves wholeheartedly? How can we do that? What does that look like? What does that look like, and then how can we do it? Identifying it and then doing it, right? So what is that area? Praying for clarity, confirmation that God breathes into this thing and highlights this for us. All right? Unassailably, right? Undeniably, very clear, without doubt. This is the area that I'm talking about. So press in, pray, meditate, speak to the Lord. Ask Him what area of your life He's asking you to wholeheartedly give yourself to Him. Then you can move on into the how, right? Convening with God and asking Him, how, Lord, do you want me in this area that has been identified and confirmed clearly? How do you want me to give myself fully? And if you need help, pray for that too. How, Lord, do you want me? How, enable me. I already know you're going to do it, but enable me, right? And then we have to do our part, which is to do it, right? So this part of scripture, which is so dope, right? When we talk about Psalms 103, 20 through 21, it says, for you are His mighty heroes who listen intently to the voice of His word to what? To do it. Don't just ask and receive. Don't just be hearers of the word, to actually go do it. So when you pray these things and you're asking for the Lord to reveal certain things to you about how we can step out in specifically, let me bag back. How you specifically are to step out in faith, right? About whatever thing it is concerning you in your life, and how you are to wholeheartedly give yourself over to Him. Identify it, move forth to do it, right? If you need additional assistance, Lord, tell the Lord what you know, right? Confess the truth as it is. Like His word is His promise, right? His word is His bond. Lord, I know you enable me to do exactly what it is that you require of me. Your will you enable me to do. Tap into that. How do I do this thing? This area of my life that you're asking me to give myself to you wholeheartedly. Reveal and confirm to me, Lord, what exactly that it is. So I have full conviction, full confirmation, full clarity on what it is that we're talking about here. Lord, I submit in my heart and my will. I submit my will underneath yours to be able to do this thing. I'll come into agreement and to alignment with you, Lord, to be able to do this thing that you would have me to wholeheartedly do for you. And if you need help, you might already know how. Like, well, it's just as simple as X, Y, and Z. But if you need help, and ask Him, Lord, how would you have me to do this? Tell me what to do so I can go ahead and do it. I've made my mind up. I've made my heart up, Lord, to do the things that you would have me to do. To come into submission underneath your will, right? To align myself with your purposes for me, to stay on the straight and narrow path that you have marked out for me so that I can step into the blessings and favor and abundance of life that you have, right? Your plans, not mine. Your ways are higher than mine, yes? not my timing, but your timing, Lord. So if you truly mean this and you're truly ready to step forward, pray those prayers. Okay, this is guided journaling, guided, you know, meditation, your own personal prayer, but guidance, right? Okay, second question underneath that is, what is God freeing you from, calling you to surrender, and or asking you to step into? When we talk about giving ourselves wholeheartedly to the Lord, how is God leading you to give yourself to him with all your heart? Like, I want you to give yourself to me with all your heart. You're like, well, how, God? You know what I mean? Like I said, and you go through those different motions to identify, confirm, get into agreement with, and then go out to actually execute and do it and say, well, Lord, if I don't already know how to do it, it could be that you already know. And again, it could be that maybe you need more clarity and more steps about how to do that, like whatever your thing is, right? And you pray to the Lord and you say, Lord, you will enable me to do what it is you're asking me and calling me to do, right? So help me to know how best to do this. If you have to have more of a conversation, have more of a conversation. If no conversation is needed and only obedience is needed, go out and do it. If it's an action-based thing, and say, hey, I'm wanting you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly in this way, in this area, and in this way, and you know it, and go ahead and do it, right? So that second question, sorry, just for clarity, that second question is, what is God freeing you from? When he asks you to give yourself to him wholeheartedly, what is God freeing you from? Or what is God calling you to surrender and say, listen, in order for me, because the reason why surrenderance is so important right here is because it could be a thing where it's like, if you don't give yourself fully to God, understand that something else has to have your attention. If God doesn't have your full heart, something else has a piece of it. If God doesn't have your full surrenderance, something else has a piece of it. So that's reclaiming it from wherever it is and giving it to God and saying, okay, you know what I mean? Give it over. The reason God doesn't have you wholeheartedly is because he doesn't have you wholeheartedly. It is what it is. He doesn't have you wholeheartedly because he doesn't have you wholeheartedly. Some of you is somewhere else. So going and reclaiming that from that area and giving it to God wholeheartedly. Give him all of it. That's exactly what we're talking about. Well, how can I give you all of my heart? You have to go get all of your heart and then give it to him. You have to identify and that's why identifying what area this is this is speaking from, right, is so important, because when you realize what area of your life, right, God is speaking to you in, you know exactly where that piece of your heart, that piece of your focus, that piece of your obedience, your will is at. Then you can go get it and you can give it to God where it's supposed to go, right? So what is God freeing you from? What is he calling you to surrender and or asking you to step into? If God is saying, listen, I need you to stop doing this and follow me here. Give me your whole heart. Whatever the details are, right? You know how to do that. You know what that looks like practically. So this is not just conceptual. This is not just spiritualisms. This is practical. Okay, well, if the Lord is saying, okay, well, I need you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly. You are distracted. Let's give an example, right? Let's make it real. If God is saying, I want your full attention and you have been split between me and work, right? I want you to come and fellowship and follow me deeper. You know, and it's always going to be way more specific than this, so it's still somewhat generalized, y'all. But follow me, right? I want you to launch this business. I've been asking you to step into ministry, right? In this way, I wanted you to lean more into these things. There are places and things specifically that I have been calling you to do, and I have revealed to you, and you're not quite sure, so you're not quite surrendered to me. You're not quite following me. You're not able to step fully out into faith because I need your full heart in it. Give me your whole heart. Come on, let's do this thing, right? So whatever it is, like that's an example. But whatever it is, God is calling you to surrender something to him and to step into something fully with your whole heart, right? It's on purpose, for purpose, right? So if God is saying, but listen, you know that I've been pulling on you, and the reason why why this is your marching order specifically, because you know I've been calling on you. I've been asking you to do a thing. Continuing on with the ministry example, right? I know that I have been calling you to do a specific thing, or to stop doing a specific thing, right? You need to reclaim what is causing you not to step fully into this. So if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, then God is calling you into alignment, to step into alignment, into righteous functionality, right? And saying, well, I need you to stop drinking and smoking, okay? You know that I'm calling you. You know that I've been talking to you about this. I'm calling you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly. Whatever you're leaning on these vices to do, I need you to reclaim that from them, and I need you to give it to me. So when I tell you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly in that instance, what am I saying? I'm saying give yourself to me. Like, go back and give your faith that you've put into these things, or even into yourself. I need you to go grab that and come give it to me. You got pieces of your dependence that you've put in different places. Go grab that and give it to me. I need you to do some things to be able to step fully in faith and unleash, actively participate with me, right? And unleash these things that I have for you in your life. For you are my warrior. I have angels dispatched with you. I got a whole army surrounding you. You got the green light, you in the clear. I need you to do three things. Your part in this is three things, yeah? I don't need you to do the fighting. I don't need you fighting with principalities and things seen and unseen. I don't need you to do none of that. I already got stuff for that. What I need you to do is three things. Step out in faith. Give yourself wholeheartedly to me, all right? And guess what, y'all? We're going to transition into the third one. Have radical obedience. Step out in faith. Give yourself wholeheartedly to me. Go reclaim whatever this relevant thing is. I need you to go get the things that you ain't fully given to me, wherever they may be, may be scattered from. If you still have a hope and faith in yourself to be able to do it by way of whatever, get it out, get it from you and give it to me. If you put your hope and your faith into other things and people, guess what? I need you to go back and reclaim it. Come give it to me. That's your job. This is your work. Not that you don't have work. You have work to do. This is an active participation thing, right? But you ain't got to be out here fighting principalities and spirits and all the things and then marching up the street with a sign talking about God. You know what I mean? Like, unless that's specifically what you feel like you've been called to do. Okay, and it's been confirmed by God. But God is saying, whatever this thing is in this season and in this moment, I need you to step out in faith. I need you to give yourself to me wholeheartedly. And that's what the work of that looks like. Identifying it and then being honest to be able to say, okay, if this is the specific thing, that the places I'm not wholeheartedly with God is because I have these things strewn, over here. This thing is strewn over here. I got things, I need to come back, grab those things, reclaim and give it to the Lord. That last thing was having radical obedience. All right, radically obey. And we got 3 questions. We got 2 minutes left on the clock, y'all. I'm trying to get us out of here. We got 3 questions inside of that, right, that I want you guys to really press in and lean in on. It says, what steps are needed for you to radically obey God? All right, let's get honest. Let's get honest with God. And then radically obey. When you radically obey, it's against all odds. It's such an intention behind this versus just even normally obeying. It's like whatever it costs to do this thing, I'm going to do this thing. Whatever it costs to obey in this way, I'm going to obey in this way. I'm following God no matter what. That's radical obedience. I don't care the cost. I don't quite care the details. I can have an understanding of the details, yes, but I don't care about the details because I'm going all in. Why do we have the faith to go all in? Because just like this, it says, you are already protected. Everything that needs to be taken care of is taken care of. All I need you to do is commit your mind. And this part, number 3, we're talking about radical obedience, to obey. Step out in faith, give yourself to me wholeheartedly, and then radically obey. I don't need you focused on nothing else. I don't need you worried about nothing else. I don't need your intention split, your attention split. I don't need your cares and your confidence split. I need you in radical obedience. So this is your work to do. So step out in faith, give yourself to me wholeheartedly, and radically obey, okay? 2 more questions inside of radically obey. First one was, what steps are needed for you in order to radically obey God? Number 2 is, how is God calling you to obey that may require a more powerful than normal push to get through into obedience? And what area of your life requires a radical step of obedience?